Joining us, staff writer for The Atlantic, Toulouse Olorunipa, and president of the National Immigration Law Center, Kika Matos. Mark McKinnon still with us as well. I said goodbye to you too soon, Mark. All right, so Toulouse, talk to me and walk me through what we've been seeing across the country. You just heard Rand Paul say that the reason that people are not accepting this or pushing back against it is because the agency has fundamentally broken trust with the American public.
Found in my reporting as well in Minneapolis, and we're seeing some of these tactics spread to other parts of the country. But definitely in Minneapolis, you have a breakdown in trust, not only between the community and the ICE agents and CBP agents that have been rounding people up, but also between the agents and the local government and the local police department. The local police in Minneapolis do not want to be associated with what ICE is doing, in part because of the way that they have been operating, not only violating people's rights, but also lying about the things that they are doing, with DHS saying that, the people that are arrested are domestic terrorists or would-be assassins, and also killing 2 U.S. citizens. And so that's something that police departments that in many cases, like in Minneapolis, have been working to move toward de-escalation and move toward better community relations. They do not want to be associated with a police department that has been very aggressive and been willing to use force in a very excessive way in the minds of many local residents. And so that's part of the reason why a number of local governments, a number of these local communities are resisting ICE and telling ICE not to come to their local communities. And we did hear from the president that he wanted to de-escalate, but now that we're seeing that this operation and these raids are moving to other parts of the country, that the de-escalation is in name only. We are not seeing it actually happen on the street. We're instead seeing an escalation of these tactics to not only Minneapolis, but other parts of the country as well.
It is amazing, Mark, because the president did have a much broader mandate post-election to clean up immigration. He did shut down the border. The border is effectively closed. And he had public support for getting rid of the bad guys. I know that at the RNC, he said mass deportation now, but people didn't read it as everybody. They read it as getting rid of the bad guys. What do you make of the squandering of that mandate?
It's remarkable, Katie. I mean, this is arguably the issue that got him elected the first time, and a lot to do with getting him elected the second time. It's the first thing he talked about coming down the escalator during his announcement speech. He talked a lot about immigration more than any other issue. And because of that, Trump and his administration and his campaign folks have always sort of felt like they're bulletproof on this issue. Like there's nothing that they don't think that they could push too far. I know from talking to them and talking to colleagues and friends and folks who worked on the Trump campaign, they just didn't think that there was any downside to going as far as they could go on immigration. And now they're realizing that there is a huge downside. I mean, on the issue that he was most popular on, he is now underwater. People are, I think, more unfavorably about Trump on immigration than are favorable about it, which is just an incredible thing. But to your point, they wanted the border shut down, yes, and they wanted the bad guys out, but the Trump folks said, we're going to go after the worst of the worst. So if you're in these communities, which, by the way, are clearly very democratic communities who have far fewer immigrants than places like Florida or Texas, and they're marching into restaurants and marching into schools and abusing parents of small children, that's what, almost anybody with any common sense was going to draw the line and say, well, wait a minute, that's not what we had in mind at all.
Well, even in red communities, I mean, we just had our reporter Will McDuffie on a moment ago talking about Clarksburg, West Virginia, and a business owner there really upset that they're taking her line cook, saying, what are you doing? These are not the criminals. I support you going after the criminals. I don't support you going after these folks. But the way that the administration has gone about it, Kika, is they've tried to demonize entire populations. So, first Donald Trump was on the escalator demonizing Mexicans, saying they're rapists. Some of them are good people, but they're rapists. They're coming in. They're drug dealers. And then during the campaign, he was talking about Haitians. They're eating your cats and your dogs. They're eating your pets. It's Somalians in Minneapolis, part of the justification and their fraud for sending this surge of law enforcement agents into Minneapolis. We got to root out that fraud. We're reporting here at MS Now that the next target after Minneapolis is going to be Ohio. It's going to be Springfield, Ohio, ground zero for where the president said Haitians were eating people's pets there.
They've targeted every single ethnic group that you have identified is an ethnic group that is made up of people of color. That is not accidental. And what we have been saying, I mean, it's not just that they're targeting immigrants and demonizing immigrants, because once you demonize people, it's easy to do terrible things to them and justify it. But the thing that we have been ringing the alarm bells around is that this is not just about immigration, this is also about authoritarianism. And this administration has been building an authoritarian regime on the backs of immigrants. If you look at what they've done, right, they've begun with immigrants, they've demonized immigrants, they have violated their constitutional rights, and now they have spread their authoritarianism brutality by way of ICE, by targeting people who support immigrants. But if you look at the totality of the other things that Trump has done under the guise of immigration, clearly what we're looking at is authoritarianism, and I'll offer you just a few brief examples. Trying to end birthright citizenship, in essence, with a red Sharpie saying, I don't like that, it's gone. Invoking wartime laws, including the Alien Enemies Act, which really targets immigrants for deportation without due process, again, using immigration as a pretext. The Department of Justice has now ignored 4 court rulings by federal courts, all based on immigration rulings because they haven't liked them. And now what we're seeing all over the country, which is ICE cracking heads, right? Violating the constitutional rights, not just of immigrants, but US citizens alike. And the pivot that we're likely to see soon is towards the elections.
Yeah, we were just talking about that in the last block. Kika, really good to have you. To lose you as well. Mark, I am actually saying goodbye to you now. So thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate it. Tip of the hat. I like that.